Okay. Kristyn Clarke here, backstage at the Rock Allegiance Festival, and I am on the bus of 3 Days Grace. Could you introduce yourself to our site visitors, please?
I am Adam from 3 Days Grace.
Great. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to sit down with us for a few minutes. And, what does it mean for you guys to be part of a festival like Rock Allegiance? I mean, we see so many of these rock festivals during the summer. Is there anything about this one that stands out?
The Stone Temple Pilots stand out, that's for sure. I think we've actually done one of the Rock Allegiance shows a couple years ago, but it's always great. I mean, every year the lineup here is awesome. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to Stone Temple Pilots. It's a great lineup. All the bands are awesome. A lot of bands that we haven't seen in quite a while here too. So it's cool. Yeah, we're having a good time.
That's awesome. It's great when the camaraderie is really good, and it's kind of like a reunion of seeing like old friends and tour mates and all that.
Yeah.
So there is definitely some news on the 3 Days Grace forefront. You have the new album coming out. What can you share with us about that?
Well, I mean, the new record, Transit of Venus, comes out October 2nd. I think it's probably our best record that we've made to date. Actually, I take that back. It definitely is our best record today, in my opinion. First single's out. People can check out the first single, Chalk Outline. And October 2nd it comes out, and it's we're pretty stoked on the record as a whole. Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you have any big plans for release day? Are you going to do anything special on the 2nd of October?
I'm sure we will. Yeah, we're sort of in the works of trying to figure out what we're gonna do on the release date. We're actually going to be on tour when the record comes out. We're doing a run in October of just small clubs, very, very small clubs, intimate shows for our sort of hardcore loyal fans or whatever. So. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure where we're going to be on October 2nd, but, we'll see what happens. It's hard to say.
So I'm sure you're pretty happy with the way Chalk Outline's been performing. I mean, I've seen it in pretty heavy rotation now at like rock radio and everything. Do you feel that, with the recording process for this album that you guys tried anything different? I hear a little, maybe some electronic elements in with Chalk Outline.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this record was completely, we went into this process completely different than we have in the past. And in the past, with all the records in the past, we basically went into the studio with the songs completely done. We spent a lot of time finishing the songs, and then we go into the studio and finish them. And this time around, for one, we were working with a different producer, which changed things a little bit. And we ended up going into the studio this time around with songs that some songs weren't even written yet. Some songs were halfway done, So it was, for us, it was definitely a different experience in general. We kind of wrote a lot of the stuff on the fly, live off the floor, and it ended up turning out really well, that whole process for us. So, and we wanted to add new elements, we wanted to, I mean, it's hard as a band to evolve continuously, and on this record, I mean, we tried to keep all the same 3 Days Grace elements that we have in the past, with the heavy guitars and the same kind of feeling, but with some new elements. So yeah, I think we did try something different, and it worked out.
So, in what ways would you say, as a band, that you guys have changed from, recording, early albums back in like 2003 to this current album? How would you say that you've kind of grown and changed as musicians?
Well, I think we just we tend to evolve. I mean, sort of individually. When we're not touring and when we're not making a record, we're sort of all doing our own thing, because we don't want to spend any time with each other when once we get off the road, because we've been on the road for 2 years together. So everybody kind of does their own thing, and everybody listens to different music and does different things. So when we get back together to write and record, everybody comes kind of with different ideas and different things and influences and all sorts of stuff. So yeah.
So I know you guys have kind of been on the 3-year cycle with things. So it's like every 3 years you'll have an album and then tour behind it. You think you're going to kind of stick with that?
I mean, it's gone that way so far, you know, and it mainly comes down to touring. I mean, after we put out a record, we end up touring for about a year and a half to 2 years behind the record, and then we spend almost another year writing and recording and taking a little bit of time off. So, it seems to be the way that it's been going. I mean, I don't know if it'll change. It depends on how fast we write our next record or how slow we write our next record, really, you know. If we write the next record within the next week, maybe we'll have one out, you know.
You never know, right?
Yeah. In November or something, who knows.
So, you know, you mentioned some off time. What do you best do for some R&R? What do you enjoy to do with your time, you know, away from music and away from touring and all that?
I mean, I have a lake house in Canada where I, you know, north of my downtown house that I live in Toronto. So I mean, I get to the lake and I fish and I hang out at my cabin, as you call it in the U.S., but we call it a cottage up in Canada. So anyway, yeah, I just chill out try to get away from everything and just kind of chill out and just relax in nature, basically, you know, really.
Oh, that's true. I think we all need some time to like hit off on the cell phone and just sit there and chill out.
Yeah.
So, you know, after Rock Allegiance here, you have all the album release stuff and obviously more touring. Are there any areas you're looking forward to visiting that you haven't been to for a while?
Yeah, you know, really when we play, I mean, Ohio is great for us. Florida is really great for us, and Texas is really good for us. So I don't even know if we're hitting those markets on this run, to tell you the truth, but I just know that those 3 states are great for us. We have a great time when we play in those states. No, I'm just looking forward to the whole tour in general, because the new record's out. It's all just we're just really stoked about just playing the new record for people, you know.
That's great. So, I mean, what I love so much about your music is the honesty, and it's something that everyone can relate to. You know, even if we take something different away from it, you know, it may not be exactly what you meant, but we can relate to it in some way. You know, how hard is it for you as an artist to put so much of yourself out there? I don't find it too hard, because I've always sort of written that way. And when I first started writing music, I was listening to like the Seattle music scene. So I was listening to bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all these bands that really, they were fairly honest, you know, bands like Alice in Chains, where, you know, so it's just the way that I've always written. It has been pretty honest. So it's not really that hard, and you know, as cliche as it sounds, and everybody says it, music is therapeutic, and it, you know, it really is, and that's why it's a cliche, because it actually is. So, you know, when I write music, it is therapeutic for me, you know, without sounding too cliche. That's, you know, it comes sort of easy. It's like a diary. You know? Oh, yeah. I mean, I've heard it's obviously just as therapeutic for the artist creating as it is for the listener, and you know, everyone takes different messages, but it still has the same overall feeling or emotion, I guess.
Yeah.
So, you know, how does the title of the new album, it's Transit of Venus, kind of reflect the songs there? I mean, I know the slogan for it is "Some things will never happen, or only happen once in a lifetime." Is that what it is?
Yeah. I mean, well, the whole idea was like, you know, the transit of Venus only happens once every 250 years or 200 and some odd years. I'm not a scientist, I don't know. But you know, and this year it happened on June 5th of this year, and you know, we were just finishing the record, and we wanted to. The weird thing is that when we made our last record, there was a rumor going around that we were going to call our last record Venus. So it really stemmed from that. You know, when we were making Life Starts Now, a rumor got spread around the internet that the record was going to be called Venus. It wasn't. We never called it Venus, whatever. And then this time around, when we were making the record, the Transit of Venus actually happened, you know, and that was the same day that we announced the release of the record and all that sort of stuff. So it just seemed to fall into place properly, you know, and I think the songs relate to it, you know, the title, just in the sense that to keep it simple, you know, Venus was a planet similar to Earth that just sort of wanted to, you know, to live. And unfortunately it didn't. it just it dried up, and it's no longer planned. So when we look at the songs, and it all tends to, because we write with a sense of urgency, it all seems to make sense, to us anyway. I don't know, maybe to everybody else they'll be like, it makes no sense at all, but no, to us it makes sense.
Great. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes out to speak with me. I appreciate it. And, obviously, I'm sure the best way to keep up to date with you guys is through all the social media and Facebook and online and all that. Do you have any final comments to fans or site visitors?
No, I mean, I just, just a big thank you to all the fans that have always supported us, and check out Transvenous, because like I said, I really fully believe that it is our best record to date, and we're really proud of it. So, yeah, thanks.